Today we're going to demonstrate how to make Oreo balls. First step is to gather your supplies.
Here I'm demonstrating how to make Oreo cookie balls, which can be made with any type of Oreo, and you can also be creative in how you want to alter the actual flavor of the filling, and I'll talk about that more later.
The other ingredients.
The first step is to gather the ingredients. The first ingredient is an 8-ounce package of cream cheese. You can use any variety, the full fat, or we here like to be a little healthier with the third less fat. Next, you'll need to have some form of dipping chocolate. Here we have Baker's dipping chocolate, and you can find it in any package. But if you like a form of dipping chocolate that cools more quickly without freezing it, I recommend using almond bark, which has a vanilla or chocolate flavoring. But keep in mind, when using different types, if you run out of one, do not mix it with another. That will mess up both of them. So the final ingredient is Oreo cookies. Here we recommend splitting them into the cream and the actual cookie, which makes it easier to crush the cookie. And then you'll end up mixing the cream with the cream cheese. But if you don't have time, it's alright to crush these up later. We'll talk about that more later. The next step is to crush the Oreo cookies. This can be done using a food processor of any sort. Here we have a nice handy small size one. Or you can also place the Oreo cookies in a large gallon Ziploc bag or an old cereal plastic bag in order to use a rolling pin to crush them in between the bags. But now we have creamed the 8-ounce package of cream cheese with the removed cream from the Oreo cookies. If you have a mixer, that is quicker, but if not, this large fork comes in handy, and it's also important to have a scraper on hand, a rubber scraper, to clean your bowl. Now we will pour the crushed Oreo crumbs into the whipped cream cheese and give it a good and stir it thoroughly, or you can use a blender so that they're completely mixed together. And now that the mixture is sticking together, that it is stirred well enough that it all sticks together, we will use a about teaspoon size scooper, or you can just use a spoon and scrape it off with your pinky. But here we will scoop a healthy amount in here, and they don't really need to be spaced apart in the pan because we're just chilling them. And after this step, after you have rolled all the Oreo cookie mixture into balls, you'll put it in the freezer for at least 10 minutes or as long as necessary. As long as you won't need them to be in there. And then we'll cover the next step in a minute. Now that we're beginning the dipping process, we will remove the Oreo balls from the freezer after they have been in there for at least 10 minutes. And we will melt the dipping chocolate until it is completely liquid. And it's better to cook it less time than to overcook it and risk burning it. Sometimes you can stir in the chocolate to melt it. Now here's a special tip I have. To dip the Oreo balls, you can take a plastic fork and break out the two center tines, and you have a nice little resting place for the Oreo ball. So here's the first one. We'll just scoop underneath, and we'll drop it in there, and then we go underneath it once, and we turn it over, and it's done. If we leave it in there too long, and it'll just start to melt with the chocolate. So we just want to be quick with it. And then we'll turn it over. And then it's done. It's got a nice, pretty, shiny covering on top. Alright, and now that we're finishing up the tray, when I dip this final Oreo ball, we will place the tray back in the freezer for at least another 5 minutes, or until you need to put them away so that they set properly.